Are you eating healthy, cutting calories, even trying keto, and still not losing body fat? If that sounds familiar, there is a very good chance the problem is not your willpower. It may not even be your calories. The real issue may be a hormone doing exactly what it was designed to do. That hormone is insulin. Now, insulin is not the enemy. Insulin is essential for life. It helps move nutrients into cells, stabilizes blood sugar, supports recovery, and keeps your metabolism functioning. But when insulin stays elevated too often, too long, or too high, it sends one powerful message to the body: store energy, do not release fat. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your fat cells are like a savings account. You may have plenty of stored fuel, but insulin acts like a lock on the vault door. If insulin remains elevated through frequent snacking, refined carbohydrates, poor sleep, stress, or metabolic dysfunction, your body has a harder time accessing stored fat for fuel. That means you can feel tired, hungry, and frustrated while carrying plenty of stored energy. What the research shows is that insulin strongly suppresses lipolysis, which is the breakdown of stored fat. When insulin levels fall, fat release becomes easier and fat oxidation can increase. This is one reason low carbohydrate and ketogenic approaches can help many people improve body composition and metabolic health. But there's an important nuance. This is not just about eat fewer carbs. It's about fixing the metabolic signals that keep insulin elevated: meal timing, liver health, sleep quality, stress hormones, hidden sugars, and insulin resistance. In today's video, I'm going to break down 6 science-based reasons insulin may be blocking your fat loss and exactly how to reverse it naturally. Many people wake up and begin fueling immediately. Cereal, toast, oatmeal, fruit juice, flavored coffee, snack bars, smoothies, then lunch, then another snack, then dinner, then dessert. Even foods marketed as healthy can create one metabolic problem when eaten too frequently. They keep insulin elevated all day. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine insulin as a traffic officer at the fuel station of your body. Every time you eat, especially carbohydrates or mixed meals containing carbs, insulin steps in and says, "Use incoming fuel first. Store the extra." That is normal and healthy in the short term. But if meals are constantly arriving, insulin rarely leaves the intersection. That means your body spends less time switching into fat-burning mode between meals. Here's what's really going on inside your body. During the hours between meals, insulin normally falls. As insulin drops, stored fat can be released from fat cells through a process called lipolysis. But frequent eating shortens or eliminates those low insulin windows. This is why some people say, "I barely eat anything, but I eat all day." Metabolically, that can be very different from eating enough food in fewer, structured meals. What the research shows is that meal frequency can influence insulin exposure, appetite regulation, and substrate use. For many people, reducing eating occasions improves metabolic flexibility and makes it easier to access stored fat. Now, this does not mean everyone should skip breakfast or force fasting immediately. It means your body benefits from periods when insulin can come down. So what should you do? Start with these practical steps. Stop grazing. If you snack out of habit, boredom, or stress, remove the default snack pattern first. Create meal boundaries. Try eating 2 to 3 meals per day with no calories between meals for a few weeks. Build meals that satisfy. Use protein, healthy fats, and fibrous vegetables so you're full longer. Eggs, meat, fish, olive oil, avocado, leafy greens, these help reduce the need to snack. Remove liquid insulin spikes. Juice, soda, sweet coffee drinks, and frequent healthy smoothies can keep insulin stimulated. Watch your hunger improve. Many people notice that once insulin swings calm down, cravings begin to decrease. This is where momentum starts. You don't need perfect macros yet. You need fewer insulin spikes and longer recovery windows between meals. This is the condition where your cells stop responding efficiently to insulin's signal. The pancreas then compensates by producing more insulin to get the same job done. So even if blood sugar looks normal, insulin may already be running high in the background. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine insulin is a key and your cells are the locks. In a healthy system, one key opens the door easily. But over time, through chronic high sugar intake, excess visceral fat, poor sleep, inactivity, stress, and genetics, the lock becomes rusty. Now one key doesn't work well, so the body sends 5 keys. That means more insulin circulating, more fat storage pressure, and less efficient access to stored body fat. Here's what's really going on inside. Your body, when insulin remains elevated for long periods, receptors can become less responsive. The liver may continue releasing glucose when it shouldn't. Muscle cells may take up glucose less efficiently. Fat cells become harder to empty and easier to refill. This is why someone can say, "I'm eating less than before, but I still can't lose weight." Because the hormonal environment matters. What the research shows is that insulin resistance is strongly linked with abdominal fat gain, fatty liver, type 2 diabetes risk, cardiovascular disease, and impaired metabolic flexibility. Improving insulin sensitivity often improves multiple markers at once. So how do you reverse it naturally? Build muscle sensitivity through movement. Walking after meals is one of the simplest tools. Muscles can absorb glucose with less insulin when they contract. Even a 10-minute walk after eating can help. Prioritize resistance training. Muscle is a major glucose sink. More lean mass often means better insulin sensitivity over time. Lower refined carbohydrates consistently, not perfectly consistently. White flour foods, sugary drinks, desserts, and processed snacks are common drivers. Improve waistline before scale. Weight, visceral fat around the organs strongly contributes to insulin resistance. Inches lost around the waist often matter more than scale obsession. Sleep and stress still count. You cannot out-diet poor sleep and chronic cortisol elevation. Consider lab clues with your doctor. Fasting insulin, triglycerides, HDL ratio, A1C, liver enzymes, and waist circumference can provide helpful context. This is important to understand. If insulin resistance is present, your body may need time to heal before dramatic fat loss happens. That is not failure. That is physiology repairing itself. You say you're doing keto, you cut bread, you stop sugar, you're trying hard, but the scale barely moves. In many cases, the problem is not effort, it's hidden insulin triggers. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you're trying to lower the water level in a bathtub. You unplug the drain blockage, but the faucet is still dripping all day. That small drip matters. In metabolism, those drips can be hidden carbs, ultra-processed keto foods, sweeteners that drive cravings, frequent bites, or foods that keep appetite high enough to overeat. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Many packaged foods use labels like low-carb, keto-friendly, net zero sugar, protein snack, healthy granola, or diabetic safe. But metabolically, some of these products still create problems. Starches disguised as fiber blends, sugar alcohols that trigger GI distress, or overeating highly processed seed oil-heavy foods that are easy to overconsume. Keto desserts that keep the sweet reward loop active. Protein bars with enough digestible carbs to matter. Sauces, dressings, creamers, and drinks loaded with hidden sugars, even if insulin spikes are smaller than soda or candy. Repeated exposure can slow progress, especially in insulin-resistant individuals. What the research shows is that whole food, low-carbohydrate diets often outperform highly processed versions because satiety, nutrient density, and appetite control improve. So what should you do? Use a whole food keto base. Build meals from real food: eggs, meat, fish, poultry, Greek yogurt, if tolerated, olive oil, avocado, nuts, moderation, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables. Audit your little extras: coffee creamers, ketchup, flavored yogurt, sauces, gum, healthy bites, weekend treats. These add up quickly. Read labels ruthlessly. If the ingredient list looks like a chemistry project, think twice. Prioritize satiety over snacks. A steak and vegetables will often help more than 3 keto snack bars. Watch cravings as a biomarker. If a food makes you want more food, it may be working against your goals. This is where many people break through. They stop chasing keto products and start eating keto foods. Many people clean up their diet, lower carbs, even start fasting and still wonder why progress stalls. Sometimes the issue is not food, it is cortisol. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone. It is not bad. In the right amount, it helps you wake up, focus, respond to challenges, and survive emergencies. But when stress becomes chronic, mental stress, emotional stress, sleep stress, overtraining stress, financial stress, the body changes its priorities. Fat loss moves down the list. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body as a smart city with limited resources. When there is an emergency alarm, the city redirects power toward police, fire, and emergency systems. Beautification projects stop. Chronic stress does something similar. The body says, survival first, optimization later. Here's what's really going on inside your body. When cortisol rises, the liver can release stored glucose into the bloodstream. This is useful if you need to run, fight, or react quickly. But if you're sitting at a desk stressed by emails, traffic, or constant worry, that extra glucose may still appear. Then insulin may rise to manage it. So even without eating, stress can create a metabolic environment less favorable for fat loss. What the research shows is that chronic stress is associated with increased abdominal fat storage, higher appetite, disrupted sleep, and impaired insulin sensitivity. This is one reason some people gain belly fat during stressful seasons despite not eating that much. Now, here is the key insight. You do not need a stress-free life. You need a better stress response. Practical ways to lower cortisol naturally: walk daily, especially outdoors. Walking reduces stress signaling and improves glucose handling at the same time. Use short breathing resets. Try 5 slow breaths in through the nose, longer exhale out. Repeat for 2 minutes. Stop overtraining. If you are exhausted, inflamed, and wired at night, more intensity may not be the answer. Protect morning light exposure. Sunlight early in the day helps regulate circadian rhythm and cortisol timing. Reduce stimulants if anxious. Too much caffeine can amplify stress hormones in sensitive people. Create evening downshift rituals, lower lights, reduce screens, calm the nervous system. Many people treat sleep like optional downtime, but biologically, sleep is metabolic repair time. It is when hormones reset, insulin sensitivity improves, appetite signals recalibrate, and the brain restores energy balance. When sleep is poor, fat loss becomes harder even if diet is good. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body as a factory that runs all day. At night, the factory closes for maintenance. Belts get repaired, software updates install, waste gets cleared, and systems recalibrate. If maintenance keeps getting canceled, breakdowns start appearing everywhere. That is what chronic poor sleep does to metabolism. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Even short sleep duration can reduce insulin sensitivity. That means your body may need more insulin to manage the same meal. At the same time, hunger hormones can shift. Ghrelin, which stimulates hunger, may rise. Leptin, which signals fullness, may fall. Cravings for high-calorie foods often increase energy drops, making movement less likely. So poor sleep creates a double hit. More hunger, less metabolic efficiency. What the research shows is that sleep restriction is linked with higher risk of obesity, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and increased calorie intake. In practical terms, tired people often feel hungrier and make harder food choices. So how do you use sleep as a fat loss tool? Set a consistent sleep window. Go to bed and wake up at similar times, even on weekends. Dim light at night, bright light, and screens can delay melatonin release and disrupt circadian rhythm. Keep the room cool and dark. This simple change helps many people sleep deeper. Avoid heavy late meals. Large late-night meals may impair sleep quality and keep insulin elevated overnight. Limit late caffeine for some people. Afternoon caffeine still affects nighttime sleep. Get morning sunlight. This anchors your body clock and improves sleep pressure later. Treat snoring seriously. Snoring, waking unrefreshed, or gasping may suggest sleep apnea, which strongly affects insulin resistance. Here is the truth many people miss. Sometimes the next step in fat loss is not harder dieting. If insulin has been blocking fat loss, the goal is not to punish your body. It is not starvation. It is not endless cardio. It is not chasing hacks. The goal is to create a metabolic environment where insulin can come down naturally and your body can access stored fuel again. That is where strategic keto and fasting can be powerful. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body as a hybrid car. It can run on incoming fuel from food or stored fuel from body fat. Many people have become metabolically stuck using only one system: constant incoming fuel. Keto and fasting help retrain the engine to use both. Here's what's really going on inside your body. When carbohydrate intake falls low enough for the individual, insulin often decreases. The liver begins producing ketones, which can be used by the brain and body for energy. During periods without food, insulin usually falls further, and stored fat can be mobilized more easily. That means better fuel access, steadier energy for many people, and improved appetite control. But this only works well when done intelligently. Start with food before fasting. Build 2 to 3 satisfying meals around protein at each meal, non-starchy vegetables, healthy fats for satiety, low-carb whole foods. If you're hungry all day, fasting too early often backfires. Use a simple eating window. Try 12-12 first, then 14-10, then maybe 16 to 8 if it feels natural. Do not force aggressive fasting if sleep worsens, stress rises, or binge eating follows. Prioritize protein. Many people undereat protein on keto and lose muscle. Protein supports metabolism, satiety, and healthy aging. Replace electrolytes. Lower insulin causes the kidneys to release more sodium and water. Low sodium can cause headaches, fatigue, dizziness, and keto flu. Use mineral-rich foods, salt appropriately if medically suitable, and stay hydrated. Use movement during low insulin windows. Walking, light activity, or resistance training can enhance fat use and insulin sensitivity. Track biofeedback. Look for reduced cravings, better waist measurements, stable energy, better sleep, improved labs over time, not just scale weight. So let's bring this all together. If you are eating healthy, trying hard, and still struggling to lose fat, the answer may not be a lack of discipline. It may be insulin. Because when insulin stays elevated too often, your body receives one consistent message: store fuel, protect reserves, delay fat burning. And today, you learned what actually drives that signal. You saw how constant snacking can keep insulin active all day. You learned how insulin resistance forces the body to make more insulin. You saw why hidden carbs and processed keto foods can quietly stall progress. You learned how chronic stress and cortisol can raise glucose even without food. You saw why poor sleep damages hunger control and insulin sensitivity. And you learned how strategic keto, structured meal timing, movement, and fasting can help reverse the process. Here's what's really important. Fat loss is rarely just about eating less. It is about creating the right hormonal environment. When insulin improves, many other things often improve with it. Energy becomes steadier, cravings become quieter, waist size begins to change, focus improves, inflammation may decrease, long-term health risk often moves in the right direction. This is why metabolic health matters far beyond the scale. So here is my challenge to you. Pick one change today. Maybe remove snacks between meals. Maybe walk for 10 minutes after dinner. Maybe stop sugary drinks. Maybe commit to a consistent bedtime. Maybe eat whole food, low carb for the next 7 days. Do one thing consistently and track how your body responds. Because small signals repeated daily create major metabolic change. You do not need perfection. You need physiology working with you instead of against you. If this added value, like the video and subscribe to join others optimizing their health naturally. And remember, when you lower the signal that stores fat, you unlock the system designed to burn it.